Forgotten Truths, the Minotaur, Monster, Myth, and Mirror. What secrets slumber beneath the ruins of Crete? Was the Minotaur truly a monster, or something far older and far closer to us than we dare imagine? The story of the Minotaur, the half-man, half-bull, is inseparable from Crete, and from one of archaeology's greatest discoveries, the Palace of Knossos. In the early 20th century, British archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans unearthed the sprawling ruins of Knossos. What he found was staggering: a multi-story palace, a maze of corridors, storerooms, ceremonial rooms. A structure so complex, it could have easily given rise to the legend of a labyrinth. Evans believed he had found the home of King Minos himself. He named the civilization Minoan after the legendary king who, according to myth, imprisoned the monstrous offspring of his queen, the Minotaur. Throughout the ruins, Evans found the double-axe symbol, the labyrinth, etched into walls and artifacts. Some scholars, such as Minoan, argue that the term labyrinth could originate from this very word. Knossos also revealed an obsession with bulls. Frescoes of acrobats vaulting over bulls in a sacred sport known as taurokathapsia. Ritual horns adorned rooftops. Bull-shaped drinking vessels were common. Yet when trying to trace the true origins of the Minotaur myth, one must recognize that these sacred symbols, the bull, the double axe, the labyrinth, are intertwined with echoes of real cataclysms, cultural collapses, and forgotten rituals. The myth of the Minotaur is not a direct account of Minoan life. It is a broken reflection, a fragmented memory passed down from a civilization long fallen into ruin. But what if even the origins of the Minotaur's myth are more elusive than we imagine? The Minoan civilization of Crete, with its labyrinthine palaces and sacred bulls, thrived between 2700 and 1450 BCE. Their people developed sophisticated forms of writing, hieroglyphs, and the mysterious linear A, now lost to time, unbroken by modern scholars. By the time the Minoan world crumbled under disaster and conquest, its language and myths faded into silence. Later, on the mainland, the Mycenaeans, builders of mighty fortresses and scribes of linear B, rose to power. They recorded their world in early Greek, but their writings too were swept away by the cataclysm that shattered the Bronze Age. When the so-called Dorians descended and new peoples reshaped Greece, the very memory of writing was lost for centuries. Civilization fell into darkness, and with it, the ancient voices that might have told us the Minotaur's true tale. Thus, the myth we inherit of a half-man, half-beast trapped within endless stone was never written by Minoan hands, nor by Mycenaean scribes. It survived only as a broken whisper, passed through generations of wandering storytellers, evolving, distorting, forgotten, and remembered anew. By the time Homer sang of Ariadne's dance and Theseus' thread, he was already looking back across 1,000 years of ruins and fading legends. The labyrinth was not merely a place. It was a memory of a memory, a relic of worlds long crumbled into dust. Some say the Minotaur lived only in story, others that it rumbled from deep within the earth. Crete lies atop the restless boundary of the African and Eurasian tectonic plates. In ancient times, devastating earthquakes periodically shattered Minoan palaces. In cultures across the ancient world, the tremors of the earth were often seen as the work of divine or monstrous beings. The roar of a bull could easily symbolize the sudden, terrifying thunder of the ground breaking apart. Some scholars suggest that the Minotaur myth encodes memories of these cataclysms. As the American archaeologist Donald Preciosi noted, myths often preserve truths hidden beneath poetic symbols. The monstrous half-bull, half-human creature, buried deep within a labyrinth, may have represented the unpredictable and terrifying forces sleeping beneath the earth. But the true labyrinth may not lie beneath our feet. it lies within. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung proposed that ancient myths are reflections of our inner worlds. In Jungian psychology, the Minotaur is seen as a manifestation of the shadow, the dark, unconscious aspects of the psyche: fear, rage, forbidden desire. Jung wrote, "The shadow personifies everything that the subject refuses to acknowledge about himself." In this view, the labyrinth is the mind's twisted corridors, and the Minotaur is not the other. It is us. Psychologist Marie-Louise von Franz expanded on Jung's work, suggesting that confronting the Minotaur is necessary for individuation. The journey to integrate the hidden and repressed into conscious wholeness. Without this confrontation, the monster grows stronger, unseen but not unfelt. Into this darkness steps the hero, Theseus. Armed with only a sword and the slender thread of Ariadne, Theseus descends into the maze. Psychologically, the sword represents clarity of mind, the thread, connection to life, love, and conscious purpose. To conquer the Minotaur is not merely to slay a beast, it is to overcome chaos within. What if your life is the labyrinth? Even today, the Minotaur roams among us. Modern interpretations see the Minotaur as mental illness, systemic oppression, or personal trauma, the internal monsters we fight daily. Psychology Today notes that confronting one's Minotaur is akin to facing depression, anxiety, or addiction. It is a lifelong journey through inner darkness toward healing. The labyrinth appears again and again in literature, art, and film. Jorge Luis Borges, in The House of Asterion, reimagines the Minotaur as a tragic figure, not a monster, but a lonely soul imprisoned by fate. We are all wanderers in our own labyrinths. We fear the Minotaur lurking in the dark, but it is not merely fear we must conquer. It is ourselves. As the ancients taught and Jung affirmed, the only way out is through. Through the maze, through the monster, through the mystery. Which face of the Minotaur speaks closest to you? The one born in the minds of scholars amidst the Swiss mountains? The one rooted in the findings of seismologists deciphering ancient cataclysms? Or perhaps a vision crafted by an early continental Greek, neither Achaean nor Mycenaean, standing bewildered before the shattered beauty of a ruined Cretan palace, struggling to explain what he saw? Or maybe you have a theory of your own. Tell us in the comments below.
Subscribe or Zeus's thunder will strike you down.